Well, it's looking a little better over here, but certainly still have a long ways to go. Unfortunately, I just broke my last bit of string for the string trimmer, so we're kind of dead in the water now until I can get some more. And today is one of those days where I'm going to be running all over the place. I got to go to the steer pasture, the hayfield, so we're going to cover some miles. And I guess while we're doing all that, I can add another stop to the list, and that is the hardware store to get some more trimmer line. That's what's going on today on Farmertylerranch. We swung by the hardware store. I got trimmer line and a new battery for the fly sprayer. That's something you guys probably noticed in the last video. Fly pressure is starting to wake up. And while I was in town, I stopped here at the post office, and several of you sent us stuff. I get mail out of the P.O. box. You know, my intention was to do that like every week, and I'm lucky if I do it every month. I'm honestly lucky if I do it every 2 or 3 months. Thank you, Harold Shaw, George Mifsud, Hank Dressel, and the last one here just says Opperman, no first name. And that one came from Alaska, so I'm very curious to see what's in there. So big thank you to everybody that sends us stuff. I know that I don't hardly ever mention it, so I thought today I would. Right now the yearlings are down at the end of the rotation line, so my plan is to walk them through this middle pasture and back up in here to the first pasture. They've never done this before, so it might get a little bit interesting, but we'll go ahead and get everything set up in here so that, assuming they do make it into this field, everything will be ready to go. Gates open, water set up. Let's go see if we can find them. Wow, look what they did to this salt block. I think it's been about a week since I moved them in here and gave them the block, and they have probably gone through at least half of it already. There's something in that block that they were missing, and I'm thinking they're glad to have it back. Come on, cows! It's nice when they string out like that. It's easy to count them, make sure everybody's here. Oh, you guys got fat this week. Good job. Look at you. Whew. All right, let's see if they follow me down to the next gate. Well, they're kind of following me. Come on, cows. We'll try the just a few acres speech. And we'll try the old Swiss speech. Come, boss! We got another gate. Come on! That worked. It actually worked. That's everybody. Well, that worked. I don't know, they started running, so I started running, and they just followed me right in here. Worked out good. So I think because they ate that salt block down so much in the pasture that they were just in, I do have a new one in here, but I've also got one in the middle pasture. I'm just gonna move the one from the middle pasture in here so they have twice as much and everybody can get some and all that good stuff. Well, I think putting the second salt block over here was the right decision. Look at this 2321 here. I mean, he is a tank. Holy smokes. He could probably go to harvest in the fall. I don't know if he needs to wait till next spring. I gotta tell you guys, I just cannot believe how much better these calves look after only being here for, I mean, has it even been a month? There is a noticeable difference in them, to me at least. I know sometimes those subtle things are not so easy to catch on camera, but if you were here in person, I think you would see it too. And I really can't tell you if it's the type of forage that's growing out here or just the amount of it that they get, but something agrees with them. Grass looks good. Calves look good. After a week of garlic salt, flies are looking better. I'm hoping they will improve a little bit more, but time will just kind of have to tell on that. So I've got one more thing that I got to do while I'm here, and then we can head home. Every time I got to pick this thing up, I just think, why did I use such thick wall tubing? There. That'll ride. I am happy to say that baling is done for the year, and usually every year after I get done baling the field, I like to go through the numbers, let you guys know, and just for my own knowledge, how we did. This year when I got finished with the field, the bale counter read 299 bales. But if you remember, there was one bale that I baled up and then cut open and rolled it out and rebaled it later on after it dried out a little bit more. So the more accurate number is 298 bales. Out of the 298 bales that I made this year, 273 of them are these smaller 4-footer bales. These weigh in at about 500 pounds, and 25 of them are the larger 6-foot bales that should weigh somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000 pounds. Going off of these totals and weights, we have a total of 161,500 pounds of hay this year, or 80.75 tons. If we figure that out, that's only about 2.3 tons per acre, which for this field is honestly not very good. On a normal year, I would expect to get somewhere around 3 to maybe up to 4 tons an acre. And I think the first year that I grew hay in this field, I got closer to 5 tons per acre. I think what really made the yield suffer this year was the amount of wild oats that I had on the big half of the field. They don't amount to very much, but they do take up space where your crop would grow. So instead of triticale growing there, it was wild oats. I also suspect that when I planted the field, my seed application wasn't very even, because as I was swathing the field, you could see defined streaks of, you know, like a good streak of triticale, and then a good streak, or not a good streak, a bad streak of wild oats, good streak, you know, very evenly spaced out there throughout the field. And I think what I was seeing there is just, you know, where the spreader wasn't spreading as far as it should have, or something. I think something was off there. So I'll have to get that figured out, and then I'll have to get a little bit more serious about spraying out the wild oats and getting rid of them. So there are definitely some improvements that I can make for next year, and then assuming the weather and everything cooperates, hopefully we can do a little bit better. But that is just kind of the way it goes. You know, every year you try your best, you learn something, and then you apply that knowledge to the following year. And probably by about the time I'm, you know, 70, 80 years old, I might have this all figured out. The good news is I don't think I'm going to have to buy hay this year. Between what I've got out here in the hay field and then the carryover from last year, I can meet my 320 bale requirement that I like to have in the barn or in storage going into winter. But because I had a lot of wild oats growing in this hay, I'm a little bit concerned about what the nutrition value is going to be of these bales, because wild oats are essentially they just take up space. The cows don't really get anything from them when they're in a bale. So what I might end up doing is taking some hay samples and getting them tested to see where we're at. And if the numbers are too bad, then I might end up buying a couple of stacks of alfalfa and just feed the alfalfa with the triticale during those critical times of the year when the cattle are in their final trimester, or, you know, when the calves are freshly weaned, anytime where the nutrition requirements might be up a little bit. And the other bit of good news is that I will have some bales to sell this year, which I haven't the last couple of years. The reason that I make 2 different sizes of bales is because the 4-footers are for me, because my 8N can handle them a little bit easier, and the quantity of hay that is in a 4-foot bale just seems to work better in my feeding program. The reason that I bale 6-foot 1,000-pound bales to sell is because it almost cuts my baling time in half. So for every 1,000 pounds of hay that I bale in a 6-foot bale, I can do that twice as fast as I can if I was doing it in a 4-foot bale. The next thing that I've got to do out here, and is the reason why I needed to get the bale spear from the steer pasture, is I need to go around the edge of the field, push all the bales off of the edge so that I can disc a fire break. The goal here is to get all the bales pulled away from the edge of the field so that I can come back tomorrow morning and mow all of the weeds that, I mean, this stuff was too bad. I didn't even want to cut it with the swather. You can see there is a little bit of triticale growing here still, but a lot of these wild oats, and this is what I was kind of trying to keep out of the bale. So tomorrow morning when things are wet, I'm gonna come through here and mow all this down, and then once I get all the weeds mowed down, I'll come through with either the chisel or the disc and make a fire break out about, 20, 30 feet. That looks pretty good. Well, moving bales went a little bit faster than expected, so I think I got some time to work on this some more. That's looking much better. I've reached the time of year where I'm doing a lot of pasture moves. These girls are ready to go into the next pasture. That's what we're gonna do right now. And of course, I wanna remember to turn the box off. Ready? Hey you guys, take a breather. Right now, several of my hot wire spools and a lot of my posts are still at the winter pasture. I haven't had time to go over there and get that all tore down. So the pasture that they're moving into today is twice as big as what it would normally be. So instead of just leaving them out here for one day, they're gonna be out here for 2. You can see it's tall and headed out. We'll see what they can do to it, and then I'll probably just chase them with the mower to get all these seat heads cut off. Pretty much everybody went through. I got these bottle calves following me, so if I'm walking a little bit strange, it's because these guys are pushing on me. But I did notice one calf down here laying and not getting up and moving with the rest of them. So we're gonna walk down here and see what's going on. Well, you can see him way down here. He's just laying there looking at me. I'm not sure what the deal is. Why aren't you getting up, dude? Yeah, it looks like he's favoring that right front. Otherwise, he seems fine. So hopefully it's just a matter of, you know, stepping in a hole or something like that. Could be when I unloaded him after coming back from the winter pasture, because I know that that is one that was over there. He could have like heard it getting on or off the trailer or something, that where he's just a little sore-footed now. So we'll be keeping an eye on him over the next couple days. And I mean, all these calves are going to be going through the chute at the end of the week anyway. So if he's not better by then we'll do something more. In the meantime, I hate to make you walk the whole way. You could just duck under that wire. So what we might be able to do is like lift the wire up, put it on that side of him, and there you go. Now he's in the right spot. That actually worked pretty slick. And I'm not sure when I'm going back and editing this, I may kick myself for not explaining what I just did, because the camera might have not picked that up. But the calf was walking right alongside the wire and he didn't want to go through it. Evidently he's been shocked a few times. So I just lifted the wire up, pulled it on the other side of him, and then when he felt the wire on his right shoulder, he just went off with the other cows. I'm glad that worked, because when they're a little bit lame, I sure hate making them walk all the way down to the other end and then back up again to get back with his mother. Well, I think that's going to do it for this one. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.